Get and go.
We is live.
We is live can be. That's
Well, and also the other thing I was telling you about on those videos, whenever I go back and see and there were videos that have had, 2,000, 1,500 views for the week. And it was how to wash a driveway, how to remove grease from a dumpster pad, how to, instead of the business building, it was still the basic stuff
the basic stuff.
But instead of, hey, how do I trademark and copyright my business? How do I do this the right way? That wasn't.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising.
It really is, But
when you think about it, because that's what some of the people should be focusing on, but they're not.
No, it really is. I mean, people focus on. Hey, John, how are you doing, buddy? Welcome everybody.
Saco.
Jumping on here already. Doug and I were just talking about, YouTube views and we go back and we track, which one of our videos are getting the most traction. And it's really surprising that instead of the educational stuff, as far as how to be legal, how to get insurance, how to copyright and trademark your logo, people aren't really looking at that. People are looking at how to wash a driveway, how to remove grease from a dumpster pad, how to wash a hotel. And it's really kind of amazing, really surprising. It's sad in a lot of ways, but
they're not focusing on any aspects of the business side of it.
Oh, Ty, brother, you ain't kidding. Doug, I don't know if your heat is the same as mine. And hey, and I apologize to anybody that tried to reach me today. I have one of those. I even wore in like white shorts and a tropical shirt. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be a Monday. It's going to be a pretty chill Monday. I walked into the store. There were people waiting for me at 8 o'clock whenever I got there. I ate my ham salad that Tanya went down and got me at like 11:30 at 4 o'clock today.
Dang.
And I think I have to literally throw away the clothes that I was wearing because they're just grease stained and cruddy and nasty. And it's one of those days, So, but yeah, Ty, but yeah, I felt the heat today because I was out doing a lot of parking lot repairs and it was warm.
It's been hot.
Hell, we had a heat index of 101.
I don't know what our heat index was today, but it was Satan's play yard out there.
It was 101 heat index whenever I got home at 6:45 tonight Eastern. Dang. That's shocking. I mean, that late in the day. So
yeah, that it is. Well, hey, before we get started,
they better put Kevlar on, but they can come.
Yep, they're gonna have to.
I know.
Before we get started, I want to do the spiel of we're not going to be giving you legal advice and we're not going to be giving you financial advice. These are our opinions, our thoughts, or whatever, blah, 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 because we're going to get into some of that. And I just want to make sure that we put the disclaimer out there that it is what it is and not what it isn't. There you go.
Tacoma. Right? What's the bed dimension? Anybody have a Tacoma? And what are the bed dimensions of it? So,
I know that
a Tacoma is a small one, isn't it?
Well, they have larger Tacomas.
Here's the big one.
They have some larger Tacomas as well.
Rusty,
matter of fact, Derek Moody has a Tacoma. I think.
Dustin. Okay, let's go ahead and start with this. And do you think a recession is coming? In our pre-show, Corey, I think the recession is here.
I think it's here. I think it's already started.
Yeah. Doug and I were talking, and I know the government has a different idea of what a recession is, and it's like two or three quarters or more of negative growth, or with growth not being as large. But if you really and truly look at the average American family, from this whole COVID thing that popped off, and 2020 was bad with it, 2021 was bad with it, 2022 we had a little bit of stuff, in the beginning of it. Now it's what was COVID. without the government pumping copious amounts of money, which is now going to cause our next recession or continuation of this recession, I think we've really been in a recession already for a lot of people.
Yeah. And if you look at it, I mean, so what is a recession? A recession really is a pullback, right? It's us not spending any money, basically, is what it boils down to. And if you look at it, my wife and I were even talking about it. And I said, I mean, I think so. The definition of a recession, okay, so maybe by government standards or terms, we're not in a recession yet, but I mean, like you and I talked about before the show, I definitely feel like we're already in a recession, even if it's the beginning of the recession. We're already pulling back. We're already not spending. And, things like, and why not? You go to the grocery store and milk is $17 million a gallon. I mean, you got to start thinking about, well, do I want to buy that? So we're already pulling back on our spending. And that's part of what's going to create this recession, right? And I mean, the experts are saying that, we will, 2023 will have a recession. Recessions typically last about a year. So they're saying we're not in it yet, but we're going to be. And I think we're there.
Horseshit. I mean, I'm seeing guys from our industry talking about the impacts. I had a guy in today, good friend, watches this broadcast. I want to say he either said 1,400 or 1,700 in fuel for his one truck. Between the pressure washers, between the generator, between the travel fuel, either 1,400 or 1,700, which it was shocking. It was a number that used to be so inconsequential for him that he didn't track it that hard. But that's 2 or 3 extra jobs right there. So it's going to hit all of us on there. So.
And I don't think it's going to be very long from now. So that's why this is a really good topic. And Jesus Barrios is the one that
I think we're already in a recession ourselves. I mean, I really do. And especially if you take away the fake government money, and I mean, say fake, but
it's our money the government took. We got to pay it back.
But that money that's been free flowing for the last, Trump started it. And I mean, I think Trump kind of acted out of, hey, we got to do something to keep this economy going. But then Biden went with that Build Back Better doofus stuff and just really
how's that working out?
Yeah, how's that working out for you? How about just put it back the way it was when you found it?
How about I would love to say, how about just walk out of office? But the problem with him leaving office,
it's horrible.
That throws Kamala Harris into it, and if Kamala walks, that leaves another winch in it.
And I don't mean to make this
political.
I don't mean to make this political at all, because I mean, all of them have horrible ideas. But this is, there was a lot of people, and there was a lot of us that actually did fairly well during COVID. Really did actually pretty good, because people were sitting at their house. People weren't necessarily, we were being paid to stay home. There was a lot of government tax credits out there. The average family got between $5,000 to $10,000 extra that they weren't planning on during COVID. There were a lot of people. I know that it caused a massive people sitting around the house. How dirty is this? I know that we were the benefits of that back in 2020. Our residential was off the chain good out there. And then in 2021, a lot of our businesses and our education and those were really flush with cash from government infusions and needed to spend money. And, think about these COVID is, and this is just hitting me. So it might take a minute to come to full circle. And I'm sorry if I start rambling, but how many basic services did businesses cut back on during COVID? And we didn't necessarily make up. Now they may have lost some revenue, and I'm trying to think basic services, airlines, how much.
But see, that's not really a basic service.
But no, I'm thinking like the little niceties you would get on an airline, the peanuts, the cookies, the things, I mean, you and I flew during COVID.
But they're still not really bringing back.
I mean, you didn't get the drink service. You didn't get, this because of COVID. We're not doing this. How many housekeeping at hotels is a great example.
Oh, excellent.
You'd have your room made up every day, unless
now you have to ask for it.
Exactly. And the standard thing is if you're staying more than, we'll clean the rooms on every 3 or 4 days. So there's actually been, so if business they've really been able to cut back a lot on services, which every service we offer costs us money, costs someone money. If I go and give a free gutter cleaning to someone at a house, it is costing me money. That money might be in the form of time or labor or something, but it is, I mean, everything has a cost associated with it. So, but businesses were actually pretty flush. And then people, and we said this 2 years ago, Doug, people have a better understanding of cleanliness now, and they don't want their places. I mean, the public,
which I think has been good for us as the new recession.
Been very good. It's been very good, and it's actually a sales point. Well, here, Michael Ovens, just absolutely. A lot of companies have used COVID as a cop out, allowing them to provide poor service.
Absolutely.
I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. Being essential was a huge plus. That was one of the things we jumped all over it on spray.
But who made you essential?
Yeah. Well, we declared ourselves essential.
We declared ourselves as essential.
We went and did the research.
That's kind of what the smart business owner is doing at this moment. You have to establish yourself as that essential business. I can have an argument for almost all businesses as to why they are essential, and they're essential to the economy of the United States anyhow.
I don't know if you put this one up there. Our truckers are taking the hit a couple months ago, and it's only getting worse to get product on the shelves now. God knows. I mean, as somebody, that deals with the supply chain on a daily basis, I actually had somebody from Central or South Florida call me and wanted a certain number of 100-gallon tanks today. And part of the conversation went like, well, you don't seem really excited about selling me these. And I'm like, honestly, I'm not, well, does every day somebody walk into your office and want 4 of these? And I'm like, no. However, I know how hard it is for me to get. And I'm kind of glad that I have these 4, because I know that over the course, I know that if I went and marketed these 4 of what I have, they would sell like that. Absolutely. I don't do it. I keep them to serve as kind of like my local market and friends that are going to say, Ray, I'm desperate for this widget right here. And I know how hard it is for me to get them. They may show up next month. They may show up next week on a shipment. And I am literally a slave.
And they may not show up at all.
It may not show up at all,
So let's talk a little bit about, what we can do to help ourselves in the recession side of it. Because one of the things I want to make sure everybody understands out there is that, tomorrow or when the recession, because we're not in a recession yet, right? When the recession hits, you want to be proactive now, preparing for that recession that we're already in, that they're saying we're not in. Yeah. But you want to be prepared for it ahead of time. So I think some of those are topics that we need to discuss, and how to get ready for that recession that is coming.
Yep. Well, right? And here's the good news. And I know that life is static. It's always changing. We're always moving. But the last recession, the 2009, is what caused me to get into pressure washing, and then 13 years later, 12 years later, I was able to retire and sell my company for a really nice, tidy profit. And, and I give the credit to God first off, and then my wife, second off. And there were a lot of companies in Tallahassee whenever I started. I think I counted, there was like 50 some odd companies advertising in the Yellow Pages. For you young kids, for you Gen Xers out there, Gen Zs, or millennials, I guess you are now. Yeah, I'm Gen X. Millennials, Yellow Pages was a phone book, and people would advertise in it. They were about thick. and it was crazy, but you know, even in a recession, a lot of those companies did not make it.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe there is always a market out there for amazing service,
Absolutely.
great results.
That's part of where this is coming from, though.
Yeah. And you will succeed if you continue to stay the course and not be the low guy, to not be the bargain. You know, there's what was that? I heard that there were, you know, two things really do well during times of recessions. One, the low price things, and then two, the luxury services. Because the luxury services, if you're the wealthy person that wants to get the Mercedes every year, you're going to buy yourself the Mercedes every year if you're of that, you know, income ability. And then other ones, people that can't afford stuff, they may wind up going with the lower price. Now, I feel that in home services, one of the big gigantic, you know, things we have here going for us is people now see how much stuff costs. People see the expense of stuff. People are paying more for houses than they've ever paid before. They're going to take care of their stuff. They want to take care of their stuff.
You know, when you look at all this, and when we talk about getting ready for the recession and preparing, you know, I want to go back to what Todd says. And I'm not sure if Todd meant to say putting or pulling, but they're both kind of the same. I've been putting back since last winter, or pulling back since last winter, although we have plenty to do.
I'm guessing putting back is in money, you know?
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say. So, because I think both of them are needed preparing for the recession, putting back and pulling back. So what I mean by that is that when you look at right now is a great time to start putting your cash to the side, getting yourself to be a little bit in a little bit better of a cash position.
Yep.
Having some cash reserves, and then pulling back on things that are not profitable for you, or are causing some of it. Pulling back could be certain types of clients that are a pain in the butt for you,
or wasteful. Are we doing? Oh, trying to think of something wasteful in this industry that we would do. But you know, is there something that
advertising and marketing is not that?
Not well, wrong advertising.
You want to do more of that right now,
right? But the wrong advertising is certainly, you know, wasteful. You know, the going out to the Angie's lists and stuff like that would be, I would say, wasteful on there. But and I want to go back to somebody remind me about the Angie's list, because I was shocked at something I saw the other day, and I did not know that Angie's List did this. But yeah, putting back cash, and also whenever you get into these recessions, cash is absolutely huge and big. And through 2009 and 10, 11, 12, there were such amazing deals out there. I was broke. I couldn't take advantage of things like that. I still hadn't made any money on there. But it's cash is absolute king at times like this. And I mean, and you can pick up equipment, you can pick up, you know, supplies, and there will be.
Now is actually the time to get them. And it's kind of a hard thing, because you want to pick up what you need now, but you also want to build cash. So you have to find a way to do them both. Right. You also want to start at this point, you want to pay down your debts. But I think some people might be surprised at this, because what happened when COVID came out with the SBA? They came out with all these loans and everything, right? Mm-hmm. I think you should get either a low interest SBA loan that is in preparation for, but not necessarily even that, but get your lines of credit in line now. Yes. Because once that hits and your numbers are dropping and you need a little bit of extra cash, it's going to be hard to get that
100%. You know,
that line of credit.
I got so pissed off whenever I sold the business.
Yeah, that's a prime example.
We had gotten a line of credit. You remember me telling you about this, and Jim Bob makes a great point. I want to go back to this. But you remember me telling you, whenever we sold, we had a line of business, a line of credit that we had never touched. It was like an emergency line of credit. I want to say we paid about, 10 points on it to get it originated. It was just there in case we ever needed it.
Right.
Right. We never needed it. Whenever we were purchased, we were told you have to close this line of credit, even though we never used it. And it was in our corporate entity, which they bought our name, but not our corporate entity. They still made it because they didn't want any outstanding debts with our company. It wasn't technically a debt, but since we had access to it, they considered it. So I paid $5,000 for this credit line that I never literally once used. It's okay, because had I ever needed that, and then whenever I opened up Power Wash Store, same thing. We went and did $100,000 line of credit out there. Paid again, several points to get this thing originated. I hope I never need it, but it's there. It's there in case I ever need it.
And at this point in time, that's kind of where the point is at, right? We've got the cash coming in now. We've got the jobs building up. And I think, I'm not sure what your point is here for Jim Bob, but Jim Bob actually makes a good point that I want to bring up as well. So as all along, we've been pushing to the higher end, higher end markets and paying off and being 8 weeks out, which creates a sense of demand for the folks. Here's something to consider too. Having those contracts booked out, one of the things that you need to think about when you're looking at the potential for recession is you need to make sure that your accounts are paying and that you've got a good contract in place for those ones that are 8 weeks out. There's a couple points there. First, that there is a definition to when that payment is due, right? Doesn't matter if it's that day or if it's 2 weeks down the road or 30 days, but there has to be a definition in there. And I mean, you can even offer financing if that's some sort of an issue to it, right? But you have to have those things in place to make sure that, number one, you're going to get paid. But number two is that if you're booking 8 weeks out, and let's say that the recession is really hitting, watch how you make those phone calls, right? If you're making that phone call the day before and you're saying, hey, did you still want us to come out? That's the wrong thing to do. And the reason I say that is you're giving them an out right off the bat.
Yeah.
Do you still want us to come? Let me think about that. No, don't do that. Just say, hey, just a reminder that we'll be out tomorrow morning to do this or next week to do that.
And we're still 8 weeks out. But Jim Bob, and he's a prime example of what we're talking about, though. The upper end markets are not going to be denied. It's in the recession. It's the middle America. It's the me. It's the you. It's the lower end doesn't necessarily. Well, the lower end does get impacted, but especially the high end market, they don't really get impacted that much, and they do have an understanding of the inherent value of goods, services, and people out there. So
you can also use the threat of a recession to help drive your business. And what I mean by that is if you're talking to property managers who want their building clean, or a homeowner that wants their building clean, and they're like, well, I'm not sure, blah, you can bring up the recession side of it and say, now's the time to do it, because when the recession hits, they're going to pull back and you're never going to get your building clean. Right. So it's a good thing to get it on the books.
And the cost, I mean, look at the cost of, I talked to somebody else that's a distributor today, and he said, I guarantee you we're going to see $11 off-road or $11 diesel up in Illinois, Indiana area.
Absolutely. I think, if something doesn't happen soon, everything, gas will be $8 or $9 a gallon, just like Trump said that would end up being, right? That's possible. I mean, we're halfway there right now. Look at it.
Yep. But so, and that's where there's an old saying in the stock market, but the bull, in any kind of market, bulls make money, bears make money, but the hogs get slaughtered. You don't be a hog, don't be just a pig about things, but understand your plan. I mean, just like in the stock market, what is it? A bull market is a good market. A bear market is a bad market. even in bad markets, people that understand the bad markets make money. You can do this in your in your pressure washing business as well. That's what we said, earlier on here. People actually probably have a better understanding of the cost of things. And God knows if you're paying, $200 a square foot for a house at this point, as opposed to where, 4 years ago, you're paying $75 and you're paying now $150 for a gallon of paint versus where you used to pay $40 for a gallon of paint. The let's preserve your property, the property preservation goes a lot farther than it may have gone 2 or 3 years ago with people. We're going to help extend the life of your home.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm going to encourage y'all to do is diversify, right? And diversify in a couple of different ways. So those of you that know me know I'm not really big on offering too many services, right? Mm-hmm. So first of all, cut back on the services that aren't making money.
Right.
If you're not, so let's say
dirt.
Yeah,
dirt.
Yeah, if you've got a service that just isn't bringing in the any good revenue, cut back on that service and maybe start thinking about offering services that are. So there's two ways I want you to think about diversifying. One is in your product offering. If you don't do window cleaning, maybe consider offering window cleaning. If you don't do kitchen exhaust hoods, maybe consider it. If you don't do what's the other one?
Staining, deck staining, things like that. I mean,
Christmas lights, that kind of stuff. But the other way I want you to think about diversifying a little bit is if you're heavy residential, start trying to balance out and getting some commercial. Yeah. If you're heavy commercial, try to balance out, maybe get a little bit of residential. And my reason for that is this. When COVID first hit, I immediately thought, man, my residential is going to tank and my commercial is going to go through the roof. My commercial clients are going to want to get all their businesses cleaned and my residential clients aren't going to be making any money. Guess what? It was the opposite of that. It
was for us as well to start with. It took about a year. It took about a year, 8 months for the commercial to catch up. A lot of the commercial was marshaling their money up, and we hadn't done the government.
They let it go. They let it go.
IDLs and the PPP loans. We hadn't done that yet. So, but yeah, our residential for a while, and our commercial actually pulled back. Now, towards the end of COVID, that 2021, we were up. I mean, Doug, as I told you, we went from 900 to 1.3 in that year of 2021. I mean, it was a massive, and the majority of that was because of extra spending by commercial, and commercial wound up having a lot of money out there. But COVID gave us so many wonderful things to talk about with the commercial. Go up there to the manager of the Longhorn Steakhouse or the what's the one my kids love? Texas Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. They're always black as sin out there at the front door, And it's like, your customers are seeing this. We'd love, that's done at a regional. Okay, can I have the regional's number? Because I know that it's got to be impacting your business and people are leaving. In fact, look, I saw a review on here that said the business looks filthy on the outside. I mean, this is where you can really use this dirt is disease kind of mentality that we had, We transitioned a lot in 2020 and there's accounts that we're still sanitizing. But, remember the Spray Wash Pro, we went and made ourselves essential workers. We gave out the sanitizing certificates, taught people how to sanitize. There's companies that we're still sanitizing at this point, 3 years later.
One of the ways that I want to look at the recession is to look at it as a competitor. And what I mean by that is that a lot of the things that we preach about your competition is what we're going to preach about, what I think you should consider for the recession side of it. What I mean for me on that, all those relationships that we're always talking about, those relationships, this is going to be okay. I'm just looking at the screen and I'm sorry, completely off track here, but Raywa.
What?
Ray. Wah.
Raywa. I'm lost.
Because it's supposed to be spray wash, right?
Oh, Ray
the
was.
way that the screen is in.
Ray was.
You're Ray. So it just I don't know why. I'm sorry I got off track there. Now I don't even remember where I was at, but where was I at? I don't know why that hit me, Raywa. I have no idea why. Anyhow, sorry. Building those relationships, or those relationships that we've been talking about for so long, right? This is the time that you're going to really need and want those relationships and to build upon those relationships. The other thing I'll tell you is to start looking at, again, when I talk about your billing side of it, this is where having some of those billing services, or those customer factor or Markate or whatever it is that you use, getting those things in line to be able to send out emails and to build that trust relationship.
And, you know, I alluded to this before. Now is the time to be writing to your old customer base.
Absolutely.
And to tell them, have you seen the cost of paint or vinyl siding or James Hardy board?
Milk.
I was by Lowe's the other day, and paint is literally at $89 a gallon. Did you know that a gentle, safe, soft wash of your property can help extend the life of your home? In fact, it's what most manufacturers, this is one of the things, like we're talking about what we talk about in the plant and property class right now. Most manufacturers recommend a gentle, soft wash to extend the life of your property. An average, you know, and I would probably go out there and talk to a painter and say, hey, how many gallons of paint does it take to paint a 2,000
average house in this area?
I would get a thing and say, do you realize painting a 2,000 square foot average, 2,800 average square foot home would cost $4,500 to $5,000? And we can provide an extension of the life of your property for 1/10 of that cost.
I want to touch on something here with John's post. I mean, John is saying, don't put your eggs in one basket. And we all know the meaning of that, right? If you spill the basket, you got nothing left over, right? But one of the things to keep in mind, and this is where I was going with the Diversify thing too. If you're one of those guys that focuses on the one basket, at least have different types of eggs in that basket.
Right.
So you got your chicken eggs, you got your, I almost said rooster eggs. Roosters.
I was going to say, you could have
eggs, shark eggs, whatever.
You could have your Aracanas, your Easter eggers, your Leghorns,
all of them.
Dominicers. So there I am. I'm counting weird again for you.
There you are.
But yeah, I mean, again, and let's go back also to the. Hold on, I'm gonna bump here. Social media is the best advertising, especially when you boost a post. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you're boosting the post right and you're doing the best, if you're doing the right social media advertising. Right. I can't tell you how many times in my news feed a year ago, whenever I was still spray wash exterior cleaning, that in my news feed, I'm seeing ads for people in Texas and Pennsylvania and Arkansas, and they're just not boosting their post correctly.
Absolutely.
I mean, find a Facebook expert, Travis Parrington. I think Travis, the web guy, I would talk to somebody like him that actually knows what the heck they're doing out there on Facebook, because you can waste a lot of money on these boosting the posts. But, if you do it the right way, it's fantastic. It really can be good. I remember a young man who's become a good friend of mine. He came up to me and he went to one of those online courses that the four guys teach. I'm not going to mention any names. Kinder, Gentler, Ray. And in fact, he even has like he did an interview with them talking about, just how amazing this was. And thank you so much. And I was like, buddy, you did an interview with them. What do you mean? I mean, it's not working out for you. He's like, Ray, he goes, the guy said if I would do an interview, he would help me with my Facebook advertising. And I said, okay. And I said, Fred, we'll call him Fred. Fred's a good name. I said, Fred. I said, let me guess, you're running an ad for either $50 off, 10% or $50 ad off, for new customers. He's like, oh, have you seen my ad? And I was like, no, but that's my point. That is
everybody. It's the same thing.
Everybody does. It's the same thing. You run out there and, and do this, $50 off or 10% off for new customers.
Who are you getting?
And he wound up you're getting coupon shoppers at this point. Mm-hmm. He wound up, we developed a great friendship. He went from, I kind of became an unofficial coach for him. He went from one truck to 2 trucks. And he's one of the top, 5 or 6 in Tallahassee. He was a referral source for us at Spray Wash whenever we couldn't get to it. Hey, call Fred. Fred's, doesn't stay as booked out, Mr. Johnson. I'm so sorry. We can't, I know, you're having a party on Friday. I am so sorry. You know how busy we are, but Fred is going to take good care of you out there. So there's so much BS with these classes and stuff that goes on out there. But as I took Fred under my wing, and we started talking about how we market our people and how we really get out and touch our customers. I mean, we're touching them. And I don't mean that in a pervy, weird way.
When you talk about social media is the best advertising as well. It definitely can be.
Yep.
But you also have to remember one thing, and that is something that you built a class on, and that is you are what you post.
Yep.
And so you have to remember that when you look at social media, that even though it is the best form of advertising, it really is, that advertising, is it positive or negative towards your business? And with the recession coming, you need to think about that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what is on your personal page and what is on your business page? Sure, they're separate. But sometimes people look at the owners of a business and see what they're posting about, right?
They are the same. Yeah, they are.
And if you're posting things about anybody, Trump or Biden or whatever, on your business page, it's just something that for business purposes, you really shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. Like that or not, especially with a recession looming, it's just not a good idea.
Stephen has an absolute, I'll tell y'all guys what, what Stephen just said, go get contracts, approach your current commercial with the idea of 1 or 2 contract for a discount price to guarantee the work for the upcoming times. Start guaranteeing that work now. When Tanya and I sold our company, the first question was, tell us about your contracts. Tell us about your contracts. And then whenever I said, okay, well, here's this contract and that contract and this contract, then I said, I also can demonstrate that this has been a customer for 10 years and this person has been a customer for 8 years. So even though we may not have a contract, we've been offering weekly, monthly, or quarterly services to this person for 6 or 7 years. So can we go ahead and stipulate that it's a contract, even not on paper? Because But
a lot of this business, you don't have a contract, if you would. Though it is a good thing to do. And he's bringing up a good point in, if you do offer a discount for multiple years and for signing a contract, it can help to get that contract signed. And, pricing is a big part of when you start looking at a recession. We're always talking about raising your prices, getting your prices up there. You do have to, I think, when you start looking at the recession side of it, you need to look at pricing, and maybe it is time to hold your pricing and not necessarily raise your pricing as much as you would want to, or you would if we weren't facing a recession, kind of thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Which can, when you look at it from both sides of it, you say, well, then that hurts me because I'm not making as much profit right now and I can't stick as much cash to the side. Yes, and that's true. And that's where I say you have to weigh all of the pros and cons and try to balance that out, because you do want to start building and tucking away that cash and getting the ability to have cash by credit lines or whatever the SBA loan, whatever you need to do to have that extra cash to continue to flow on.
I want to transition into here. Henry with Big Bend Wash Pros is here. Henry's a good friend of ours and a good personal friend of mine, and I love him to death. Henry showed me the other day, we were going in and and this is one of the things that's so, let me break here. One of the things that's absolutely incredible about this business is that I see guys at my store all the time who shake hands, who want to help each other in their business, who really give a crap about, each other. And oh, I want to see that comment there in a minute. And they sincerely want to see each other succeed. And it's not about, stealing business. It's what are you doing to make yourself better? And what are, I did a video years ago called Infinity Pie. And the more cleaning that's out there, the pie grows. The pie is not limited. And if Henry gets this slice and if Steven gets that slice, it doesn't mean there's less of a slice for everybody. The more awareness about cleaning, the pie gets bigger and bigger.
Pie grows.
I mean, it truly is Infinity Pie.
I was talking with somebody the other day about the whole saturation of the market thing.
Right.
I don't believe in market saturation. Now, is it a real thing and can it be a real thing? Yes. Yep. But I don't think that any one of the industries, Florida is a great example, right? I'm often hearing that it's saturated, but it's not, because just what you're saying, the pie is getting bigger because the awareness is growing. And that's all of this is what's setting us up. And you should know, as this recession comes, if your business isn't set to be able to withstand the recession, guess what happens? All these companies go out of business. Now, instead of having this small pie, you get this great big huge pie, but you don't have as many forks to eat it.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Now I can't go back and think where I was talking about Henry out there, but Henry. So Henry and I are sitting there looking at like, and we're alone in the office, and I start pulling up. I was like, all right, let's see who's where on Google. Henry's young. Henry's literally the millennial. And he pointed out, and he's like, yeah, this one for Johnson pressure washing isn't Angie's List. Okay. And I said, what do you mean, Henry? I said, I'm not familiar with that. He's like, no, look at the small print. And it looked like a Cajun soft wash page, a spray wash exterior cleaning page. Mm-hmm. And Henry was absolutely right. He goes, no, look down there in the small print. It had the name of a company that is non-existent in Tallahassee. And in the small print, it says, by filling out this form, you are agreeing that Angie may contact you, solicit you with offers on that. So you think you're going to a pressure washing company and asking for a quote. And what you've now done is filled out an Angie's List bid request, and they're going to shop your butt out to everybody.
And they've been doing that for years.
See, and I didn't realize that. I'll tell you what I would have a picture of that in my presentation to people that I send to people and say, look at this right here. Here is why you go with someone
does the same thing.
Like, because spray wash exterior cleaning. You're going here. This looks like a nice family owned. It's named after a guy. Johnson doesn't exist. This is just an Angie troll to try to get your name, and they're selling your information out to 10, 20 other pressure washing companies.
And they're not selling it to us because we don't buy that crap.
Right. And then I would also, I made a flyer one time and posted it to the chagrin of a lot of people, and actually did and I said, you better know your pressure washer. And I literally took screenshots out of stupid questions out of groups. And can I put bleach on? How do I keep from killing landscaping? And I took sniglets out of screenshots out of each group, and I made a flyer, and I said, I'm going to send this out to my customers. If you don't know your pressure washer, then you better know spray wash. I'm sorry. These are actual questions from supposedly professional groups out there that people are asking, how do I clean this house? How do I do this?
Mm-hmm. So
Yep.
along the lines of the recession thing too, the other thing I want to get you to start thinking about is if you have any credit lines or things that you're already purchasing,
Yep.
maybe try to renegotiate some of those now and try to get some better pricing at this point in time, right? So like everybody knows, bleach prices have been going through the roof. Maybe shop around and see where it is that you can get your bleach from, and see if and look, it isn't about changing your vendor on the thing too. Call them up and say, hey, is there anything we can do about the pricing? I've been buying from you for 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, 12 months, whatever it is, right? And we've been loyal and we'd like to continue that relationship. I don't want to shop around. Is there anything we can do? You might be surprised to find out that they can and will. All you have to do is ask, right? So start renegotiate anything that you can now. You want to start controlling your costs, I guess, is where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
In preparation for a recession, you want to make sure that the things that you need and can afford to buy now and that are going to be.
Say hi.
Hey,
Don't do that.
don't do that.
It's a husband.
No, I don't. I want to hear someone else talk about cleaning all the time.
There you go.
She doesn't want to hear somebody else talk about cleaning all the time. So,
Because she has to hear it from you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what Steve was saying, the pie has definitely grown here in Tallahassee.
Absolutely.
You get more of the pie
Everywhere.
when you make a bigger pie. And yeah, you're right. He's right, Henry. So I think I do think advertising venues can get oversaturated. That means more established companies look elsewhere for business. Yes, absolutely. And there's so much more than just Facebook, I mean, who's our buddy? Gene.
There are people that absolutely hate Facebook and are not on Facebook. So if Facebook is your only form of advertising, you're missing out on a lot of customers.
You are. Look at Gene O'Neill, how well he did with
Nextdoor.
oh my gosh, we used to
Is it Nextdoor?
Nextdoor, yeah.
Yeah.
For Nextdoor, I mean, for a while, Nextdoor was just like his little honey hole for
Nextdoor was great for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Us
absolutely.
too. I mean, he always, he'd said it finally, died off some. And basically it's chock full of red tip Randy.
I want to touch on this next one too. I'll wait till you get done with that one.
Okay, this is Todd. The pie is getting bigger. And yes, the newer guys are getting business with their low prices. Done more high-end homes this year than last year. Not just, talking about 2,500 to 3,000 residential jobs because we've been around for a while.
Absolutely.
100%.
And again, the $99 guy, there is a market for him. And then there's a market for the $3,000 guy. And I don't care about
Golden Corral. You've heard me say this so many times. Golden Corral, Roost Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Corral, Roost Chris. They both have their own market segment.
Yeah.
Golden Corral's going to cook a lot more crap.
Here's the one that I wanted to touch on too. So Rob's absolutely correct. Carry very little or no debt. Okay. So I want to clarify this based on something that I've been saying, right? Because I'm talking about getting a credit line or taking out maybe an SBA loan. I think Rob is absolutely correct. You want to carry very little or no debt. Try to pay everything off. If you have several different loans, pay down your high interest loans right now and try to keep just the stuff that is, even if you owe more on a different loan, maybe you keep that one just because the interest is low and it's different than what's been known in the past as far as paying down debt, right? But maybe look at keeping the lower interest, get rid of the higher interest, and you want to try to have very little or no debt. But what I'm talking about as well is a credit line that you can tap into if you need it, or an SBA loan because it's such a low interest loan that is setting up for the recession. Don't get stupid with the money, right? If the recession ends and you've got extra money in it and money starting to come back in, you still have that money to pay off that debt, right? Mm-hmm. Don't get a debt just to start blowing money and buying equipment and all that. It is, you have to earmark it for the recession, keep it for that, and if you don't use it, then get rid of it, or then look at buying equipment.
Right. Here's one. Well, one, obviously Lloyd likes pie.
Yeah.
you know, I get 90% of work off Facebook. Everybody's making fun of my live videos. Now look at the industry. And I don't know who this is. It says just Facebook user. Guys, y'all know, I mean, there's a lot of guys who you know, follow me and watch my posts and see that. I used to have a method to my madness. I would post back in my spray wash days, funny business. Funny business, you know, and it would be 3 funnies to 1 business. Hey, let's take care of you. Hey, here's a project we just did. And this wasn't in the Spray Wash Academy. This was in Ray Burke's personal page and on the Spray Wash Exterior page. And why did I do funny? Because it was about creating the engagement, having people wanting
building relationships.
People wanting to come and saying, hey, what's going on Ray's page right here? This is Brittany. This is Finn's mother.
Hey,
Brett, how you been?
Good. How are you?
Surviving it. Yeah. Especially in today's day and age. That's hard to do.
It is.
Yeah.
So Brittany's single.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not?
No, you didn't know?
No? Okay. Well, Brittany's heart must be one.
I'm kidding.
There you go.
My daughter's beautiful and available. So
you want to know who's been doing really well with Facebook?
Who's that?
I think he's been doing the right things. He's not pushy in sales or anything like that, but he's building a relationship that you don't realize he's necessarily building. And that's Mitch, Power Wash Bros, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, but he got a lot of posts that he's posting. He's doing a lot. And he's posting all these people with their thumbs up.
Yeah.
That is very smart business. Absolutely. And that is going to do nothing but
and post pictures of those reviews. Post pictures and tag them in it. And do before and afters and do things of, gosh, Mr. Johnson, thank you for the fantabulous review that you gave us. We so enjoyed servicing your property.
Yep.
You know, guys, that's Joe. That was Joe that made that comment that I didn't know who it was. Yeah, 100% Joe. Agree so much. Mm-hmm. What was Flip saying? Next year we'll be paying off our white service truck, which point all equipment and truck will be fully paid. Bravo, Flip. Very nice. Mm-hmm. You know, Chet, 0 debt. Yeah.
So just so you know, I know Chet very, very well, and he's lying to you. I just want to make it very clear that he's lying to you because he says it in his thing. He's married. He has lots and lots of debt. We're all in debt when we're married, right? No.
Absolutely. You know, yeah, pay extra on your principal whenever you can to drive your debt down. Golly. Well, Wes said you're beautiful, Brittany.
It's something that I've actually been saying it for years. I think we've been saying it for years. Paying down your debt and getting yourself to where you are debt free. I mean, that was the greatest thing, to go from myself being over $40,000 in credit card debt, on the verge of losing my house, starting Cajun Soft Wash, and very few short years later, paying off my house, paying off my credit cards, buying a shop and paying it off, buying all of my trucks, all of my equipment. I lived well below our means, right? And we lived like we were paycheck to paycheck. And we were paycheck to paycheck because we were taking all of the money and setting it aside and paying things down. And
I've watched that kind of pick up shit out of my yard. It's a horrible feeling, and I don't ever want to have that feeling again. You know?
Never.
100%. 100%. You know, MTH talking about Gary V. Love him or hate him. He's always yelling about creating content. You never know when it's still your time to be discovered. 100%. And you look at some of the idiots out there that are famous on Facebook, famous and TikTok famous and Instagram famous. Guys, it's not that hard. I mean, I always sit there and scratch my head going, why the hell isn't Spray Wash Academy on YouTube a little more famous than it is, you know? Mm-hmm. And we actually do pretty well. I know part of the reason is we've never given away a skid. We've never say, hey, follow us and you're going to get a free literally pressure washer. We'll do a drawing. We've always tried to grow everything organically, and we appreciate you following us, on YouTube. Spray Wash Academy is the site. But yeah, create content, make people follow you, create a relationship online so that people feel like they know you. Remember, one of the tenets of business is people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So why do we not do politics? Well, that may make them not like you, Why do you do content? Well, now they trust you. They see you're doing this all the time. Even if it's a stupid before and after. We did this in Spray Wash Pro. Hey, how to use a Moldive or Mematic and do a simple before and after little video or little picture of houses. It's so important,
Hey, we're almost
awesome.
What's that?
Manuel being debt free.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't catch that. I was transitioning at the moment.
Manuel's come just really far in that year. I mean, Manuel's one of those guys.
Long ways.
Time and we're there to answer his questions for him.
So we're at almost an hour. We got lots of time.
Well, but John, I don't know if John's comment got to be. It needs to buy a few trucks for the wheelchair access business. Don't want truck payments, but it's been a long time since you've had it. Some debt is good. Some debt is
some debt can be good. Yeah,
a write-off is not a bad thing.
I just want to before we end up getting too far ahead and all that. I want to go through a list of things that I made here that we've covered kind of, but I'm just going to touch on each point just to have a point of reference for all of them, and really about how to beat the recession start of it. And one of it was about starting now. And the main reason for starting now is because if you wait, it'll end up making you make bad decisions. Continue your marketing, continue building relationships, get your cash now, protect your cash, build your cash now, get rid of the debt and the high interest, which kind of helps lead to recession, actually, kind of thing. But anyhow, and a depression. Diversify, but not too much. So diversify by having both residential and commercial, as well as different products and services. Offer more services, but part of it is getting more of a customer base as well. So keep that in mind. Control your costs. Make sure you're getting paid on time and have it on your contract as far as what it is that you're going to get paid and when that payment is going to happen. Make sure think about offering terms even so that they can have a payment plan. Maybe they start even paying for it now and the service is going to be later.
Can I interject, Doug? Let me stop you 1 second here because this has been something actually very personal to my heart on here. And I hate it whenever I'm bigger than people. So let me change that.
And now I'm bigger.
Well, I got this bulbous head here. So whenever I was trying to pawn Brittany off on someone. I was trying to show my beautiful daughter.
I was going to ask how much. She was paying you for that introduction or what?
I'm just trying to get rid of her.
Hi, Brett.
No.
You will have no whiskey when you wake up in the morning.
I think both of us are getting shot.
Brittany is absolutely wonderful. That is a fun gal. Plus, she's the mother of Finn. So, what was I saying on there?
And Justin, that is actually the next thing is separating business from personal, and especially
separating business from personal. Yeah, but no, where was I at before that? There was something very important.
I said something about diversify, not to mention the residential and commercial. I said offer more services, get a larger customer base, control your costs.
Oh, okay, right here. Treat your customers like gold. I have seen, and I'm not going to mention any names here. I have seen that with a recent purchase of a company, there has been business lost because there's been people wanting to work with a local company, even though they may have gotten purchased by a company out of town. People really do want to help the small guy. People want to help somebody local. People want to interact with somebody. And even though it might be the same people running a branch or running an office, it's extremely, extremely important to them to be working with a local company. And I've heard this from multiple people, and I've heard this from multiple companies that have talked to me about who felt kind of strange about going, Ray, you know what? I'm working with Bob's Auto Repair right now. And I know that used to be a customer. It's like, first off, understand, I've been paid out. I don't have, I took great care of Bob's Auto Repair for 7 years, and the company that now services Bob's Auto Repair, because they were a customer of mine, that's up to them to continue the great service. However, Bob's has it in their mind they want to work with a local company, and the company that may have purchased Bob's account is not necessarily local. It just goes to prove to the point about how just sacred and inviolate your customers are. And they really do want to help someone local and someone they know, like, trust, respect, and be that person to your customers. Stay in contact with them. Don't be a one and done with your customers. When they go into your freaking Markate, House Call Pro, Customer Factor, dear God, send them the monthly or at least quarterly emails. Do that, what we talked about earlier, going, have you seen the price of paint? Oh my gosh, paint is $89 a gallon. The average 2,500 square foot house is going to cost $4,000 to paint. We can clean your house and extend the life of the paint job, just like Sherwin-Williams recommends, for 1/10 of that.
Sherwin-Williams doesn't recommend anymore, so keep that one in mind.
But or Bear.
To your point, though, Ray, think about this, y'all, as well. So one of the things that happened in my area, one of my competitors had a brother open up in, I believe it was Houston, Texas. And so they started marketing that they were in Baton Rouge and they were in Houston, Texas. We're this big company, right? We're this big company. Of course, then the brother shut down in Houston, came back to Baton Rouge. Then he moved to Florida. And then, so now they're in Baton Rouge in Florida. Anyhow, I actually had customers that say, well, we're going to use you because you're local.
Right.
Not realizing that he's local,
right,
because he tried to make himself bigger than he was. And then another point to this is that we live in an area, in our area, it's called a parish. A parish is like a borough. It's a county. Yeah. So most areas are counties. So if I were to, when I was looking at buying my building, I knew one thing. I wanted to stay within my parish because I was local to one of my largest customers. I took the chance of losing my largest customer by being out of my county, right? Even though it would be just 15 minutes down the road. So keep those things in mind when you're looking at it. They want to use local, and some of them are required, especially on the commercial side, to use local.
Yep. You know, Todd, I used to get that all the time with spray wash. And hey, are you a franchise?
Yes,
no, I'm not. And they was like, golly, I assumed you were because of your marketing, because of your logo, because of your vehicles and your shirts and all that. And I, you know, and I feel the exact same way. But, and yes, I would say, no, we're local. This is me and my wife doing this. But you know what? It's an honor to think that we can do stuff as good as the franchises, as good as a franchise. But you know what? We are dang well local. And I'm the same way as you, Todd. We booked it 9 times out of 10 before we ever left the property because they wanted to deal with somebody local out there.
How do you measure success in this industry? Todd just answered the question. When they start asking you if you're a franchise, they're telling you that
Right.
you look professional,
You look professional.
that you're there.
You
that
look
they
on
ex-
point.
That's the same thing. We used to get that all the time. Are you a
100%.
franchise? Because you look so professional.
Yes.
You're so great. And again, just like Todd said, just like Ray said, as soon as we explain, no, we're a local, small, independently owned company, not a franchise, no multiple locations, all that. We believe in good, wholesome, taking care of our clients.
Right.
Boom. If somebody asks you if you're a franchise and you
Slam
don't tell them right then and there,
Yep.
you probably need to look at why.
And Steven is a great example. Steven's company, Steven's is a dear friend. I mean, I really, really like Steven. And, you know, he's one of the guys that swings by the office and we just, you know, shoot the mess. He's like Henry. Waterworks has an amazing logo. They have an amazing marketing. Their trucks look amazing. You wouldn't know they're not a franchise. You know,
Is that the one we went to see?
Start franchising that business tomorrow.
It is.
Nobody would know, you know, where other than this, I think your Waterworks 850, I think, is your website. Other than that area code on there, I mean, but you look like a franchise, Stephen, and that's very, very good. And I think it's also
Stephen wasn't outside, but that's the Stephen's business is the one because you were looking at that building right next door to his business. Yeah.
I was
very impressive.
Stephen actually went and got the office next to the first office that I ever got. And yeah, where I get the bill for the local Waterworks bar. There's a bar here called Waterworks. You know, and he's done amazing. And in his business, he's one of the top 5 in Tallahassee, and he's done an amazing job at it. I'm so proud of him. And he, like, literally, Waterworks could be a franchise just from the marketing they do.
Absolutely.
100%. You know.
All right, I'm going to go back on my list here real quick.
Get the same question, you know, a couple times a year.
All right. So the other thing is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Watch your pricing, both getting your prices higher and lowering your prices, or dropping the items that that just are not profitable for you. Renegotiate your credit terms from your different suppliers. Get credit lines or possibly an SBA loan. It's not about going into debt. It's about having cash available because cash is king.
Yep.
Drop or raise your prices on the lower profit services. So if you do have a service that's a low profit, either raise that price or just drop that service altogether. Watch how you talk to confirmed jobs. Don't give them the back out thing. Do you still want us to show up tomorrow?
No. You're assuming we're going to be there. You booked this time. We're going to be there.
You
know what, Doug? I'll give you a great example of dumping some services. Gutter brightening.
Oh, absolutely.
How many guys jumped onto the gutter brightening bandwagon? And I don't mean this in any insult to any chemical whatsoever, you know. But I need to do off gutter brightening. And you wind up realizing it sucks. I mean, the people that are really concerned about brightening their gutters are usually never happy enough with the way you brightened it. They still see like some small oxidation, you know, tiger stripes on there. Even though
the tiger stripes are gone and there's bare metal.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and how much do you charge to make that worth your while? $5 a foot? Well, are they going to pay $5 a foot? We saw this become just, how many new guys do we see, I'm going to offer gutter brightening. And then all of a sudden a year and a half later, like, yeah, screw gutter brightening. I'm done with that mess.
Well, I agree with what Jim Bob said. I mean, we charge high for it so that, I mean, because I honestly, I don't want to sell it. You know, I just don't. And if I do, I want to get paid for it. I mean, that's it.
Charlie's sitting here saying he loves it. So if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And as with everything inside here and anything we ever say, so sometimes things work better for you than it did for us, or works better in one area than it does in another, or is more of a concern in one area than it is of another. Hey, if it works for you and you're making money at it, more power to you.
Yep. You know, and Henry's windows have been a massive expansion, 100%. Golly, if you're not offering window cleaning, offer exterior window cleaning. Oh my God, please do
I'm
that.
surprised at how much exterior window cleaning is valuable.
Help, you know?
Yeah. And think about this, even your liability, right?
Yep.
Spraying bleach or spraying window cleaner, which one has more liability to it? You know?
Yeah, no kidding. Wild West brings up a good point. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Y'all, if y'all are on YouTube, hit the like. If you're on Facebook, hit the like. It really helps us with the algorithms. It increases, our views. It puts us up further out there. I mean, we've maintained 40 people sitting here talking for an hour tonight. Everybody ought to be hitting the like and the thumbs up out there. So it really helps us. It helps get our message up, because understand, we're all talking about helping us as a community and elevating our services.
Right.
Well, and Todd, you know what? And we love you.
We appreciate you very much.
We appreciate you. We appreciate your membership. I mean, Todd's one of those guys that last year at the huge convention, he carried literally every technician he had to the plant and property protection class, Understand, he brought
and he still does today. Todd just recently, I think it was a rain out day, and he knew it was going to rain, and he educated his technicians, right?
Yep.
Just because it rains doesn't mean it's a day to stop. It means it's a day to educate, learn, teach, whatever it is to elevate your company above the rest. And I'm sure Todd does this, but that's something that you use in your marketing and in your sales pitches and in your company culture, right? So if I could just about guarantee, without knowing Todd's guys, that you go and they're probably going to be, Todd cares about us, and Todd cares about this company, and he cares about what happens. And, I can just about guarantee going there, he's got a great culture at his company.
It helps with the company culture. It really does, And whenever you show up with 5, 6, 7 guys, all dressed in uniform at a convention, take your employees to the convention, guys. Take them. Stephen, quote your way out of it. And if they approve it, then you do it for stupid money. Honestly, guys, y'all have no idea how many jobs Tanya would sit there and go, "Are you sure about this quote?" I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a PETA. That's a I don't want it, but if they say yes, I'll laugh all the way to the bank."
Yeah. It's funny because Cajun has a customer that, I've been doing business with him for a good number of years, and I always double the price on him, always. Whatever my price is going to be, I always doubled it. Yep. And because he was a pain, every single time. This year they went out and did it again, and I don't think they'll be doing it again after that. But again, that's part of the recession side of it, is you start cutting those that are pain in the butts, or that take away too much time, money, and effort from you, even though sometimes they can be profitable. What's that?
Well, it said dump the dirt, but if you can't dump it, then you make the dirt profitable. Absolutely. I mean, it's okay. I've done plenty of jobs that I think have sucked, but I'm damn sure going to do it for a great price,
Yeah. Most of the times when people are talking about running away from jobs, those are the jobs I'm running to. Yeah. Because if everybody else is running away, nobody's willing to do the job.
Absolutely.
The person that you're running away from knows that you're running away from them.
Oxidation removal. How much amazing money is to be made in oxidation removal?
Yep. But it's a pain.
It is a pain.
I'll tell you what, we made really good money in oxidation
removal. Cleaning. But it's a pain.
That's it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what
I
it
hope
is.
we've helped you all some tonight in the whole recession side of things. We didn't talk about government overreach, but that's okay. It's probably a subject we really don't want to get on anyhow.
I'm probably not a good one to talk about government overreach.
Well, I will say, I will add this. If you're, not to get political, but if you're a Second Amendment person, I encourage you to look at what Biden has put out on the Second Amendment and gun control issues, and contact your representatives and all that. Look at it. It's an important.
What do you mean by Pro 2A? I'm not sure.
Second Amendment. Second Amendment, you know, the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah, this whole video might have been focused on something. I'm not quite sure. But,
not sure what that is. Yeah.
No idea. Maybe I'm tossing a little political message out there or whatever. But
the Ray and Doug Show, your political free message or politically free FJB. What is FJB anyhow? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think we know that. Again, yeah, and chat, this is literally the discussion that Doug and I had before our pre-show was with the red flag, and Doug told me something about the red flag.
Yeah,
that I never knew about assembling a weapon. That's part of it. That you're not allowed to assemble a weapon.
I don't think that this is where it's going to get political. If you don't want to hear anything political, you might want to click off. But anyhow. The red flag law, I don't think that's going to be it at all. And the reason that I don't is because red flag, they pretty much you have to be deemed by a medical professional to be mentally unstable or whatever, right? Okay, they're going to have that, or you're going to have a, like we were talking about, maybe a medical marijuana card in order for that to really kind of kick in, right? But if you read the way that the new proposed regulations and laws are being written, some of that says that you're not going to be allowed to assemble a weapon. Okay. Now, the purpose or intent of it was, as I understand it, that if you buy pieces and parts from different areas, or if you 3D print, or if you do those kinds of things, that you're not going to be able to assemble a weapon. However, that's not the way it's written from the way I understand it, right? It says you cannot assemble a weapon. So if you were to take a weapon apart to clean it, what do you have to do? You now have to reassemble it. If you're not allowed to assemble a weapon, now you're breaking the law.
I mean, I understand what I'm doing right here, because I bought this lower from one place. I bought this upper from another place. I bought the bolt carrier group from somewhere else. I have now, so that's two separate pieces of a weapon. Oh, look, I just assembled a weapon right there. That's now assembled. I just disassembled it. It came in disassembled.
Right, and that's part of it, is that you will no longer be able to assemble a weapon. And what does that mean? Does it mean he can't buy parts, or does it mean you can't put a weapon together after you've taken it apart? It's not what it says. It's not what it's supposed to mean. It is what it says, and they can however they want. But I do want to answer Mark's question right here. Mark says, when the recession gets worse, do y'all think there will be more or less new guys starting? I think that depending on the way it goes, I think that you're going to have new guys coming in, but I think you're going to have less work, and you're going to see more guys scrambling, and I think you're going to see prices go down, and I think you're going to see people falling out of the market. And I think you already are seeing guys dropping out. I think there's going to be more guys dropping out, and that's where we were saying earlier that the pie is already getting bigger. And so since the pie is already bigger, and there's guys dropping out, it means that there's more pie for everybody that is able to weather the storm.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna let Brittany know that Wild West. That'll make her heart feel good. So there's and you know, I've already seen that, Stephen. I was on today looking on one of the and I've seen a couple of I don't want to say names. I've seen a couple of gas roof pump rigs. Is that innocuous enough? For sale, and for sale probably for less than they were purchased for. And knowing that that person's only been making gas roof pump rigs for less than a year, I was really surprised at the amount that I saw for sale. Whenever I went out, you know, I saw 2 or 3 of them for sale for less than they probably purchased them for already. And the sad part is, understand, if you've made it this far into this broadcast, if you're going out there and listening to Facebook videos and saying how easy this is, how easy this job is, I assure you it's not, especially if you're handling debt from something like ClickLease to where you're paying a pretty high, and I don't mean anything against ClickLease, they serve an absolute purpose in life. But if you're starting $1,000 behind the 8 ball a month, it's not that easy of a business. And by all means, everything, I mean, I've seen rigs from, well, hell, Crystal Clean came in and bought us all, $120,000. I mean, Spray Wash in Tallahassee has probably got $500,000 worth of equipment or so. I mean, they put,
$100,000 brand new big trucks, expensive
big trucks. It's different whenever you're an $80 million company and you're buying stuff for cash versus you're a startup and you're putting yourself into severe debt. There's a big difference.
I think there's a point there too, where, since I sold, I have seen, I want to say 5 or 6 companies go up for sale in my local market that are exterior cleaning companies. And I think that for the most part, there's a lot of companies that are going out that are never going to be for purchase because they're not, and I want to say I don't mean this in any bad light, but I kind of do. And that is they're not smart enough to do that. I mean, I know several people who have gotten rid of their companies when their companies had value. They just let them go. Let them die.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, why did you do that? You had something that was worth 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, I guess that would be 400,000. But you had something that was worth money, and you let it go. And that's what you're dealing with on some of that. So I'm not worried about that.
Charlie brings up a really good point here. I'm looking for a brand new hot water rig, half price, if anyone's selling. I actually had a guy come in and he called me today, and this was a COVID related issue. But he called me last week and he said, "Hey, I'm about an hour and a half west of you. I just bought a rig and I have no idea what I bought. Can you come and look at it?" And he goes, "It was a Water Dragon, which is our power wash store brand." He said, "Can I come? Can I bring this by?" And I said, "Yeah, 100%. Bring it by. We'll take a peek at it." He comes by and he was telling me, and he bought it out of Panama City. The lady had listed it on Facebook Marketplace. We had, and so he pulled up in the parking lot, and we're yik-yakking. And so this thing has, how whenever the hoses, the half-inch hoses get brown and crusty out top, it's obviously been sitting out in the sun for a while. But it was a rig that we had designed about 4 years ago, an air compressor rig. There was that. And then there was a Hydratech hot washer, not the steel, the stainless steel frame hot washer, but still Hydratech 5.5 gallon a minute hot washer. And we went through systematically on the equipment. And I said, "Okay, let's look over here at the air system." Put some water in all the tanks, kind of cleaned it up, changed the fuel filter out that he had broken off, fired it up, got it primed up. Within 5 minutes, this thing is spraying 40 feet on a Water Dragon air compressor, gig. I said, "Just so you understand this, I sold the exact same rig brand new last month for $12,000. Then we move forward to, and so he's got, and he's got a tank on there. It's not plumbed up. I went and took his filter off. We put a new filter on his Hydratech hot water pressure washer. Moved it, got the filter changed out because I fired it up and it was sucking air. Changed out a filter on it. All of a sudden, we're at a beautiful 3,000 PSI on a hot washer. Hadn't fired the heat up yet. 3,000 PSI at 5.6 gallons a minute. no stutter. I mean, it is just working. There's 200 hours on the machine, on the Honda engine. Then I'm like, there is no way you're going to be this lucky, but let's now try the burner on there. We hit the switch on the burner, and we changed the filter out. I watched the diesel fill up the filter, and within 45 seconds, he is burning at 180 degrees on there. Wow. The pressure washer worked, the hot washer worked, the air system worked. It had been sitting up for a guy who got very sick during COVID and could not continue on. It was, if I would have sold it new, $25,000 worth of equipment. It needs a little polishing, a little cleaning. He bought it for $2,500.
Wow.
$2,500. I mean, you want to talk about it's just amazing.
The deals are out there.
Yeah.
And I think that there will be more of them out there, especially since I know somebody else that sells skids.
Out of the woodwork.
They don't. I know somebody that sells skids, sells them pretty regular, but doesn't really service the clients. And so I know that their skids, a lot of times, I've had many calls about how do I operate this skid? How do I operate it?
There's one company that's literally famous for it. There's 3 of them in Tallahassee. I've worked on all 3 of them, you know. It's scary how accurate the captions are on this live. AI is getting intense. Yeah, I mean, there's deals out there. If you want brand new, I can certainly get you brand new, but there's some amazing deals out there, and hell, bring them if you're in the North Florida area, bring them by. We'll give them a rundown and check
or consign them.
Yeah.
If you're one of the ones that sell
I told this guy today, I was like, you want to double your money? I'll give you $5,000 for what you get right here. And he just laughed and laughed, and I lost money.
Let him know I'll give him $5,500.
Oh, well, guys, thank y'all all so much for hanging around. We appreciate all listening to us yak. And as somebody on Facebook, on my Facebook forum our Facebook forum the other day said, dude, it's no worse than some guys that think they're God who talk and make videos. Well, we don't really think we're gods. We've been there. We've done that. And that's probably one of the biggest differences. And I don't mean, I can get arrogant whenever I need to get arrogant, but Doug and I do this out of a servitude issue, and because we love the industry and we've helped people. And do we want you to be a pro member and want you to buy our classes? Yeah, 100%, absolutely. Can we help you? Yeah, 100%, absolutely. But we also do this because we like the industry, we like the people.
Yeah. I can't tell you how much time I spent on the phone with doing one-on-one walkthroughs and all that stuff with pro members. It's insane. My wife even says, that's not making any money doing that. And I understand that, but it's about giving back and helping.
Sometimes you enjoy it,
Yeah.
Guys, thank y'all again. We need to get out of here. It is, I got to go eat dinner. It's 9:30.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
And when y'all see this replay on YouTube, again, hit the thumbs up. Watch it for 5 or 6
minutes. Love, share, all that.
We appreciate y'all. Good night.